CDKL5, which is a type of epilepsy. And Jody's going to share her story of how she worked through the system and how she got to use cannabis and other tools to help her son and increase his quality of life.
So, Jody,
We
tell
want
us.
to hear about what is CDKL5.
So CDKL5 is a gene that creates a protein for the brain to develop normally. And it's normally passed through the female, through the X chromosome. But Joseph has a very different form of it. His happened a couple hours after conception. Yes. When his DNA chain was being written, 2 of his letters switched. And it didn't happen to all of his genes, only some. So he has a mosaic form of it. So
when people, so just so I'm going to interrupt, people, mosaic form.
Mosaic form
what does that
meaning
mean?
not all of his genes are affected, only
Okay.
some. We don't know to what extent, but so not all of them are affected. So it tends to be that the boys are affected a lot worse with CDKL5. It literally affects every aspect of their being, from living, breathing, eating, drinking. Normally it starts with very early onset seizures.
And is that the case?
Joseph started seizing at 3 months old, September 11th, 2012. I'll never forget the day. And he had a tiny tremor in his right forearm. And we rushed him into Tufts, and they did some tests, and they were able to see that he did have some seizure activity going on, even though they weren't able to catch an actual seizure. So they put him on Keppra, and that was the first medication. And then they sent us home. And our next appointment was with the neurologist within, I think it was a couple of days after that. And they wanted to put him on the ACTH.
And what is that?
It's a shot, it's a steroid shot. It's a series of, I believe it was 2 weeks, I want to say. You have so much to say, too. You say, hi, everybody. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I know. So,
And isn't this
You
wonderful?
want to dance?
I can't even tell you. I had such a different child
Look
a couple
at
of
this.
years
Look
ago.
at the interaction.
Huh. You have so much to tell everybody.
You are
Huh.
such a good boy.
This is a
dance with me?
child
Are
that
you
we were
gonna
told
dance
would
with me
never
today?
walk.
What did
or
they tell you?
He would never walk, and he would never talk. And he walks. He taught himself how to walk in a pair of socks on a
Yes.
hardwood floor.
Wow.
While being extremely heavily medicated. So anyway, so the ACTH was a series of shots that I had to give my 3-month-old child in his thigh twice a day. It was absolutely horrific, especially being a first-time mom and having to give a shot to your infant. I mean, it was absolutely horrible. But anyways, unfortunately, that didn't help. And as the months kind of went on, Joseph was admitted into the hospital on a minimum at least once a month for the first 3 years of his life because of the seizures. And as those couple of years had gone on, they had tried multiple different medications. And at one point, he was on 3 medications, and they were trying to add a 4th.
Oh, and I read about that. And the 4th medication side effect was?
Permanent loss of vision.
Oh.
So by that
Right.
time, I had heard about CBD, and I kind of started looking a little bit more into it. We've all heard of cannabis. We've all heard of marijuana.
Yeah.
But treating children with it, I mean, that was something that I had never heard of before. So I was kind of thrown off by that. But at this point, Joseph he was literally sleeping his life away. He was existing. He was sleeping the majority of the day. When he wasn't awake, he was seizing. And then he would fall back asleep.
Do you know what I have? Let's cut to, if we can. We've got a video that I want to cut to really quickly. 2 amazing videos that you gave to us to show. One of them is when your son was actually seizing, so it might be difficult to watch. But the next video is just amazing.
It makes me cry
It
every
makes me
time I
cry.
watch
I'm
it.
gonna cry seeing it. It shows your son laughing for the first time.
Ever.
And how old was he at
Ever.
that time?
He was about 3.5, maybe
3
4.
and a half.
So
Wow.
3.5 years old. laughing on his own for the first time. So if we can get those videos going, let me know.
All right, buddy. All right. All right, Joseph. Hey. All right. All right, Papa. All right. Joseph. 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 Papa. All right, just relax. Just relax. All right, Mommy's here. Hi. All right. All right, baby. All right. Shh. Shh. Joseph, you breathing? Okay. Baby. Hi. What are you laughing at? Hi. What are you laughing at? Huh? What are you laughing at? Joe? Hi. Joseph. You're laughing all on your own. Hey, you're laughing all on your own. I didn't even make you laugh. You're amazing. That is the best sound I've ever heard in my life. Hey. Hi. Hi. You are the best. You are. Can you say thank you? Say thank you for making me happy. Yes, say thank you, you know who. You Mr. Medicine Man. Say thank you. Thank you for giving my baby a smile and a laugh.
And we're back. Pretty incredible videos. Mom, my heart.
He's amazing.
He's amazing.
He's amazing, yeah.
He is. He really is. So to get back to what we were talking about, the ACTH series of shots, unfortunately, nothing changed. His seizures continued to progress and get worse. And as the first couple of years continued to go on, we kept being rushed to the hospital, ambulance. I don't even know how many ambulance rides. But anyways, we tried, I think it was 12 or 13 different medications. And at one time, he was up to 3, and they were trying to add the fourth one, like we had talked about.
The fourth one that was blindness as
the number one side effect was permanent loss of vision. So, unfortunately, at that point, Joseph literally had no quality of life.
What did his day look like?
He would wake up, and he would eat, and then within probably his first nap, he would seize. And he would seize anywhere from 6 to 10 times a day. And that was a normal day. For the first 3 years of his life, that was every day. And then after seizures, he would fall back to sleep. And then on January 8th, 2015, we went in to start the ketogenic diet, which they were going to try in lieu of a medication. And when we went in to start that diet, they did a swallow study, and they found that he was aspirating in every aspect, with all fluids, all foods, everything.
So in case you don't know, aspiration is when someone goes to eat something and it gets into their breathing, their windpipe, their trachea, and goes into their lungs and can cause pneumonia.
So he was literally aspirating at all times. So instead of starting the diet, we found out that he was going to have emergency surgery the next morning and have a G-tube placed in his stomach, and that he would no longer be able to eat or drink anything that wasn't thickened to the point of probably making you an eye gag. It was thicker than pudding. Like if you took it and turned a spoon upside down, it wouldn't even come off. It
Like
was that
glue.
gross. It was
Yeah.
awful.
Giant
So,
glue ball.
and then not to mention all the medications that they had him on. One of them being Topamax. They had him on 6 capsules in the morning and 8 capsules at night. And we would have to open it up, and it was sprinkles that we would have to put into his food. So his food was literally becoming all medicine, all little beads of medicine with a little bit of food mixed in. So he started kind of shying away from eating. It was causing all sorts of problems. But anyways, so the medications that they had him on, they were benzos. And
Benzodiazepines.
he was literally a zombie. He was no longer smiled. He didn't have any light in his eyes at all. I mean, he literally was existing. It was awful. And as a mother, it was so heart-wrenching because I remember talking to his doctor about him being so highly medicated, and her answer to me was that it was her job to stop his seizures. And I remember asking her, at what cost though? And she didn't have anything to say. And obviously it didn't bother her because, like she was saying, she was trying to add a 4th medication. It didn't matter as long as they stopped the seizures, which unfortunately they didn't. Nothing stopped.
Yeah. Did they ever explore any alternatives?
Except the ketogenic diet? No.
Ketogenic diet.
No.
They ever
Besides
talk-
that.
Okay. So they do any more education around any nutrition? They talk to you
Well,
about?
that was with besides the
ketogenic
ketogenic, which is
diet?
pretty drastic.
It is
That's
it's difficult.
extremely drastic. Oh,
It is.
I was dreading it. I was actually like scared because some of those foods, I mean, you have to be cautious of, the
Yeah.
amount of, it's a lot, but it was worth it though. Anything was worth it to try something besides medication.
Doing anything to help your child.
Exactly. And again, I had started to hear about CBD just somewhere along life. I couldn't even tell you where I heard it first. I honestly don't know. And I started to look into it and actually started to kind of do some research on it. And I remember talking to my mom about it, and even she said, what do we have to lose? Really, though, what do we have to lose? I mean, the side effects of these medications were literally taking his life. He had no quality of life at all. And now he had an emergency G-tube. Now all these medications have taken any type of nutrition or anything that he could get by mouth. It was literally taking everything from my son. So after a little while of me doing the research, I brought the information to his neurologist, and I had asked her, what she thought about it. And her first instinct, I don't even think she skipped a beat when she told me that it caused death.
Really?
Yeah, and that cannabis actually caused death. And that
That's sad.
she had heard it multiple times, multiple stories. I said, really, you did?
Did you
I
do
said,
the research?
I said, you did? Well, I don't think she realized who she was talking to because at that point I had been doing nothing but research.
Exactly.
I haven't slept since my son's been born. I haven't had a full night's sleep. And at nighttime, when he's sleeping, is when I do most of my mommy time. I think most of us do anyways. But that's when, I was up for weeks, if not months, doing the research on everything. So when that came out of her mouth, I was just like, the Boston girl in me came out. I was like, what'd you say? It caused death, really? So.
And then you probably tried to educate her.
Oh, about an hour's worth.
And
We went back and forth. It got to the point my mother had to break it up.
really, she was arguing.
It got heated. It got heated. And I wasn't backing down. Because at the end of it all, I informed her I didn't need her. I didn't need her help. I didn't need her approval to get the CBD oil. And like I had told her, I said, or the hemp oil, I said, we did things your way. We've done them your way for over 3 years, and look at where we've gotten. I'm not asking to never go back to your way. I just wanted to try something else. Why not? We're trying every route that we can.
Exactly.
Right.
The way that I describe it is that I felt like she, or not her, probably most neurologists that are chasing an intractable seizure that's very hard to control because the seizures change often. So once you control one, they reroute in the brain and they come out as another type. But anyways, I felt like these doctors are kind of scooping up a handful of darts and throwing them at a dartboard and hoping one sticks. I mean, in all fairness, CDKL5 I think the first person was diagnosed in 2004. So it's still fairly new, and I understand we're all learning together, but after 3 years, I was just done with my son being a guinea pig.
And didn't they take 2 years to diagnose him, too?
He was almost 2. Yeah. But I was told, though, when he first started seizing, that most likely it was due to him being premature, and that it would be something that he would grow out of, and that most likely we would never find a cause. And if we did, then we were kind of lucky, because there are a lot of families that are undiagnosed, walking around with children and they don't have any answers. So he was diagnosed about a month before his second birthday. No, I'm sorry, his third birthday. I apologize, his third birthday. And so we were lucky. We were lucky that he was diagnosed. Even though it still was tough, but so they're still learning. We're all learning together. And where Joseph is very different than all the other kids, it's tough. And even though they're all different, even though Joseph's different than all the other kids, every child that has CDKL5 is different from the other. Each one presents symptoms differently. So what works for one literally will never work for the same child. It's amazing how that.
And it's the same thing.
It's the same.
Right, with people.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's not one size fits all when we're really, really working with parents and families and kids and patients. Mm-hmm. It needs to be personalized.
Right. So how did it make you feel when the healthcare system, who's supposed to be helping you and your son to get through this, just completely abandoned you with the ideas that you were bringing to them and the things that you wanted to do to help your son?
I felt so alone. I felt alone as it was. I have a disabled child. I don't get to go to the playgrounds and have the life that every other parent gets to have. I just don't. But then having that, all you have is doctors. That's all I've spent time with for the first 3 years of his life is doctors, So the only people that really have your back in this life didn't. So it was tough at first, but I remember having like this talk with myself because it was getting to me, as his mom, watching your child gasping for air, turning blue and literally vomiting as he's gasping for air, while seizing. It's awful. Nobody should have to go through it, never mind as many times a day as he was. But there's a lot of kids out there that seize hundreds, if not thousands of times a day. So I have to always tell myself to find the silver lining in whatever situation it is that we're dealing with, because we are luckier than a lot. Our problems are someone out there is praying for the problems that we have. So you have to be thankful. And somehow, some way, I just knew that I had to try this. Even if it didn't work, what was the worst that could happen? Really.
There are no deaths.
Okay.
There are no
Just
deaths
so you know,
related
there are
to cannabis.
no recorded deaths from use of cannabis,
Ever.
So did you have the opportunity to talk to other parents who were in the same situation that were using cannabis successfully?
I started to kind of network, and thank God for Facebook, really. It's been my savior throughout all of this, because it allows you to start to network and find other parents that are walking the same journey as you or similar to you. And that's how I got to meet some of these unbelievable families here in Massachusetts that literally took me under their wing and helped guide me. If it wasn't for the other moms that I've met, I don't know where Joseph would be, honestly. There's one girl in particular, Jessica. God rest her daughter, Nora. We love you, Nora. But she passed away last year. Nora she's a trailblazer. What she did for all of our kids it's amazing. It opened the door. She kicked down the door for so many other children to gain access to cannabis. She was on Chronicle a couple years back. She's just an amazing, and her mother Jessica is just amazing. A woman that would not take no. This is a woman that would not take no as an answer. She went after doctors and nurses, and she fought, and she literally gave her child life. She helped her daughter live so many more years than she probably would have if it was not for cannabis. She smiled and actually had life in her in a couple of years. It was amazing.
You can see it.
Yeah, just like with Joseph. Within the first...
Yeah, we wanted to ask you, tell us the milestones that you noticed with him as you started to use cannabis.
So Joseph, we saw a developmental pediatrician. Was it a developmental pediatrician? I believe it was. He's had all sorts of testing done. And mentally, he fell about 10 to 12 months, somewhere in there. Unfortunately, he was about at an infant state at the time of this, which was when he was on the 3 medications. Fast forward to when we started the cannabis in September of 2016. Was it 2016? I believe it was, 2016. I'm sorry, we started hemp oil.
Right.
We started hemp in September, and within the first week, it was literally like somebody took a film off of his eyes. He was actually looking at me. For the first time, I could feel him in years since he was an infant looking at me. Like he knew that I was there. He was actually reacting to me.
He knew you were his mama.
Yeah. It was awesome. It really, really was to have your child know. I knew that I was fighting for this life, and I knew that he knew that I loved him, but he never really acknowledged me in quite a few years at that point, So to have him acknowledge me was the best thing ever. It really was.
So where did you get the hemp oil? How did you know what to do with it?
Again, the families, thankfully, and the CDKL5 families as well. We ordered it from a company that I did research on, and cognitively, within like the first couple of months, Joseph had so many gains.
Wow.
He started, first off, not sleeping all day, which was just huge. Within the first month, I could tell that he was no longer aspirating, because when people aspirate, it's almost like a gurgling. It's almost like a cough that's not cleared, okay? And he was no longer doing that. So within like the first month that he was on the oil, I called the GI clinic and I pushed for another swallow study, which he hadn't had since the emergency placement of the G-tube. And within a couple of weeks, we were brought in and we did a swallow study, and we found out that he literally was not aspirating anymore at all. It was absolutely amazing. He had no more restrictions. He could literally all of a sudden eat and drink anything that he wanted after years of having all of these restrictions, and could not eat or drink anything.
And was he eating?
Well, we had sensory issues with
the
mouth and the
right?
textures.
I get it. Yeah.
Oh, that was fun. And we literally had to go back to using a bottle, because he had to learn how to suck. Like, where babies start. You start with an infant. It was amazing that we had to literally go back to square one. But he jumped, skipped, hopped, and just jumped right over. Within a couple of months, he was eating and drinking, and it was absolutely amazing.
That's incredible.
He has come alive in ways that honestly I thought I would only pray about and dream about. He is walking. He's starting to talk. He babbles a lot, but he's talking. He's fresh. Oh my God, is he so fresh? It's awesome though, because that's,
he's interacting.
That's what kids do.
Yeah.
Kids are fresh, and my kid's being fresh. So it's awesome. It really is. But I mean, he's literally leaps and bounds. The first time ever hearing him laugh, the
That
video.
Wow.
That
Yeah,
was,
that was
I mean,
very moving.
unbelievable. I cried. I still cry every time I watch that.
It's
So
such a beautiful video.
and
Just to hear your
he-
child giggling and going
gosh.
in and seeing that he's entertaining himself and laughing.
my
and,
gosh,
right?
I cried the whole time I was
That's
videotaping
quality.
that.
Laugh,
It was amazing.
right?
It's
Feeling-
amazing what we take for granted.
We take so much for granted.
You know, really. Until I had a child that could not do these things, I didn't realize exactly what I was missing out on. You know, it was awful, like going through just having him as a vegetable for so many years too. And then all of a sudden to have this child that was starting to turn around and do these things, I mean, it was absolutely amazing. He literally was a completely different child. And it was such a small amount too. You know, it really, really was. But
While he was using the hemp, and was he weaning off other medications?
so the benzo medication that I was talking about, it's
Yeah.
called Onfi or clobazam. And he was maxed out on that he was at 5 mLs twice a day on that.
And no seizure medications, just that?
No, he was on that, Topamax, Depakote, and they were trying to add that fourth med that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
So I wanted to drop the Onfi, the benzo. That was the harshest one that he was on, so I wanted to get him off of that. So the doctor, the one that I wasn't listening to anymore, the one that didn't like me, I don't think very much at that point, she set up a schedule where we would drop 1 ml a week. And then he would be off it within a couple weeks. Okay, no problem. We've weaned 12 meds before this. Like, it wasn't a big deal, or however many meds before that. We've done this before, not a big deal. Never have we weaned a benzo.
Right.
So I dropped the first ml, and within 48 hours, he was seizing so bad, I had to add it back and then some. I had to actually give him like a rescue med of it, you know, another amount of it. It was absolutely awful. And as I started to read up on it, I was learning all about the benzos and the withdrawals. And my 3-year-old child was literally going through something similar to a heroin withdrawal.
Oh, wow.
And some people that you talk to will even say that it's worse than that. Benzos, you know,
Oh,
benzo's like a Klonopin, Xanax, you know,
People can have seizures.
Yes.
coming
that's
off
okay.
of them.
Yes.
People can have
That's
seizures
one
from
of
the
the
side
side
And
effects of the withdrawal, yeah.
It was awful. His withdrawals were so bad that I literally had to go slow, and
Yeah.
it took about a year. But we finally got him off it, and that was his life has just turned around in unbelievable ways. It's been awesome.
And one of the important things too that parents need to know, because we were talking about chronic illness, we were talking about disease, and we were talking about healing. Just because you're not cured doesn't mean you can't be healed.
Right. The biggest thing with Joseph is that we don't have seizure control even to this day, but we have quality of life. And that's the biggest thing, and that's the most important thing that I preach to parents all the time. He seizes once or twice every few days now, if that. Cannabis has given him his life back and then some, but the quality of life is just amazing. It's just amazing, and I'm so thankful, so thankful.
awesome.
I'm so thankful to all the parents.
That's so great. Now, I wanted to, there's a couple things I wanted to talk about really quickly about support for parents. Okay, so on GreenNurse Group page, we do have a section of pediatrics, and there's 2 doctors in Massachusetts. It's on the website, and we give a cookie cutter type of approach to how patients can get their medical cards, including children. And we can help guide you through that process. I've had conversations, Dale's worked with one of the physicians, and I've had conversations with both of them, and they are very, very interested in us being able to help them to help kids get their medical cards, to get the medicine that they need.
They're trailblazers, those doctors.
They are.
They are amazing.
The other thing I wanted to mention was, what are some of the other support groups for parents that are interested? I know there's Parents for Pot is one of them.
Parents for Pot is amazing.
Parents for Pot.
It also helps with families whose parents are in jail and incarcerated for treating their children with cannabis. I mean,
Okay.
it's amazing some of these stories that are out there that you hear. But there are it depends what oils that you use, but the oils that we've used, there's support groups through them as
Right.
well. But
Joseph Journey. Joseph has his own page.
Yes, his
How
own.
could I
Tell us
forget?
about that.
Joseph's Journey on Facebook. Amazing stories there. Progression, videos, smiles, milestones.
You can see literally the pictures, the before, the after. It's just amazing. It's been amazing. It really, really has. And again, we're still, trying to get better and better each day, but I'm just so thankful for where he is today. Yeah. So thankful. I really am. And again, it's all about the quality of life. And don't stop. If you're not seeing, any type of change or anything, that's not the strain for you.
Exactly.
You have to find the right strain for whatever it is that you're treating. It's not a one size fits all. You have to keep going. Don't give up. This is a miracle drug that literally treats every disease and ailment there is out there. You just have to find the right strain.
And that's one of the things that I always like to say too about the intelligence of the plant. Mm-hmm. The plant is extremely intelligent for our complex bodies. It goes where it needs to go and does what it needs to do to help bring balance, homeostasis back to our systems, right? So that's amazing. And what are we doing here? What's the purpose of all this? To relieve suffering, improve quality of life by teaching about the endocannabinoid system.
Also, too, anybody can reach out to me as well, and I can help to guide them in other areas because there's pages for epilepsy with for parents and caregivers, and there's a lot of pages out there that I can help.
Good.
I can give you the information for it too if you'd like to post it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
we will definitely post it on the Green Nurse group page, the Green Nurse Show page, and Cannabis Radio Network.
So if there's somebody watching right now who has a child or that has seizure disorder or some other disorder, where do they start? What's the first step that you would tell them to do?
Reach out to another parent. Reach out. You have somebody that you can talk to and that can help guide you through it, or at least to help introduce you to somebody that can help guide you through it. Yeah. We're not alone in this, even though it feels that way sometimes, and it often does. We lose a lot of friends and family, and we do spend a lot of time alone. But we do have each other. The network of the parents and the caregivers that are out there is amazing, and nobody will let another person go through anything alone. So reach out to us, anybody.
Yes, and we are going to get a list of resources from you. We're going to make sure that we share it with everyone because
we'll put them on the website.
Definitely.
Put on the website.
Anything that I can do to help.
Yes.
That's what we do. You have to pay it forward. That's what it's about.
Pay it forward.
Paying it forward.
Absolutely.
That's what we're all here for.
Thank you so much.
Great.
Don't go away. We're gonna, we're gonna talk about now. We're gonna talk about the weekend.
Woohoo!
Right? She is in the process of getting her doctorate, and she has been studying her buns off and working very hard on this research. And I'm just gonna say thank you. Because you doing what you're doing is going to help us to do more good for the community.
That's what it's about. It's awesome.
Right? So while she was at home studying and doing research, I was out at CannaCon. And I was with Revolutionary Clinics. Revolutionary Clinics is one of our sponsors. They are a dispensary located in Somerville. They also opened up one in Cambridge. And they shared their table with us. And we were able to go and we used their platform and Cannabis Radio Network platform to do interviews. And we were able to interview vendors, reliable bud vendors. We spoke to people that do yoga. We spoke to a Dr. Puffenstuff. We were able to speak to a lot of people that want to bring community together. Not only bridge the gap from what people aren't getting from traditional medicine, but bring medical community to community together. It's part of the healing process. And we've seen just an example, another parent working with another parent, right? It just means so much. So there's a couple of pictures we have that hopefully are flooding through from our weekend at NECAN, but there is a video I want to show that is of the Cannabis Queen. She's adorable. So basically, we go to Rev Clinics. As a matter of fact, before we put that video up, on Friday, we're going to be at Revolutionary Clinics from 11 until 7, and I'm going to be there educating, and I'm going to be with the Cannabis Radio Network crew, and we're going to be doing interviews. They're going to be videotaped interviews that can be edited, and it's important. I am inviting patients to Revolutionary Clinics to come out and meet the staff, meet the dispensary that is the home away from home, and come talk to me. You know, you part of your healing will be in a discussion and getting your story out.
Once you talk about it.
Once you talk about it,
You're not alone.
You're not alone, right? And I'm a good listener.
And
I like to talk.
but we're finally coming out and talking about it.
And
That's the biggest thing. Don't hide. We
No
need
hiding.
each other. We need each other.
Exactly. So we're going to actually, right now, we're going to cut over to the interview with the Cannabis Queen at Revolutionary Clinics. We were at booth 138 at CannaCon. Here it is. Hi, I'm Sherry. I'm at CannaCon at Revolutionary Clinics, and I'm here with Lauren Enman. She is known as the Cannabis Queen, and this would be a great way for us to end the day at Revolutionary Clinics. I want to hear from her, and she's going to tell you all about her journey.
So, as the Cannabis Queen, I started as a medical patient. I was looking into getting off of my psych meds. I had been on antidepressants for a long time. Every time I went back, they were trying to put me on more stuff. So I was introduced to the medical cannabis fields. I became a patient, and soon after I walked into a dispensary, I realized that's where I belong. So I started to educate myself more about the products and about cannabis and how it helps people. I got the job, and one of my really good patients referred to me as her Cannabis Queen because everything that I had offered to her was just exactly how I had explained it, and it was perfect for her. And she came back to me solely for all the expertise for the future visits, and she called me her Cannabis Queen, and I guess that kind of rolled from there, and now here I am representing Revolutionary Clinics as the Cannabis Queen.
And she's absolutely amazing. We give you the 2 thumbs up. GreenNurse approval.
Yes.
Thank you so much for doing everything you do for our patients. We really appreciate it.
We appreciate you guys for helping us out as well.
So we're going to sign off. Revolutionary Clinics. We're with Lauren Enman, the Cannabis Queen. Thank you. Bye, guys. Hello, everybody. We're back. So isn't that amazing? The Cannabis Queen at Revolutionary Clinics. So please join me on Friday. So right now, I just want to welcome another guest. This is Michelle. And Michelle is going to talk about her journey with cannabis and also some issues that she's come up against as she's been on her journey for herself and her family.
So your daughter is now 4.
Yes.
And she was diagnosed with a rare and complex disorder called periventricular nodule heterotopia, pachygyria, subcortical band heterotopia, and microcephaly. That is quite a mouthful. So for people that don't have any idea, like most of us, what that is, please tell us, what is this?
Basically, her brain didn't form the way it should. It's something that was a genetic malformation with her. It was a genetic problem with her, but her gray matter from her brain kind of settled in the white matter of her brain, and it's just not getting the right connections it needs to, and her brain is smooth instead of bumpy. So.
And what does that mean? So what is that?
Well, we were told that similar to what Jody's story is, that she would never eat, she would never talk, she would never stand, she would have no head control. We were told all kinds of scary things. And she's delayed. She also has sensory issues, so there's a lot of autism
spectrum type of symptoms.
So did all of those things come to fruition? What is your daughter like now? What is the quality of her life at this point?
She, right now I would want to say she's about a 2-year-old level. So she's now really getting into speech. Her speech is really starting to pick up right now, so it's kind of exciting. We've been doing with her hippotherapy, and that's really been helping out with the speech and the mobility.
Yeah.
Especially the mobility.
Yeah. How about, I want to kind of hear about, like, what brought you to Massachusetts? Because you originally came from Florida.
I'm from Florida.
So from
Yeehaw.
Florida to Massachusetts. Tell me that story.
So, in a nutshell.
And how cannabis fits in. Of course.
Okay.
It's part of the story.
Right.
So we got her diagnosis before birth, and we knew what we were dealing with. And when I had her in Florida, it was an issue that, well, first of all, she was showing signs of issues because of some medications that I had been given in Boston. It was a whole long story.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, it was that in Florida there are no nurses in the schools. In Florida there is no, I mean, there was at the time no cannabis on the horizon. I mean, we had lost, and we had lost bad, and I didn't think that it was coming anytime soon. And when I had done my first searches, even before she was born, to see what a seizure looks like, because I don't know what a seizure looks like. I've never seen one, except on TV.
So they, just so I can clear, they gave you this diagnosis, told you to go home, let's continue with your pregnancy, and you're left with information that you have to figure out on your own.
Yeah, so I had exactly like 3 days to figure out before she was born, to try to figure out and piece together what it was.
That you were going to be dealing with.
Yeah, and we still didn't know. I mean, we were told, quite frankly, we were told to look at other options. I mean, it was...
What does that mean?
We were given a card of a doctor that has other options. So it just wasn't something that was a possibility, not for me, not for my medical health. Preeclampsia couldn't happen. So that was difficult. And I was told that I did not have a viable pregnancy, basically. I was told that I had a baby in me that would have no set lifespan, as far as like there would be no end, but that she would never be anything.
Well, you know what I'd like to do, if we can get a video ready? I want to show that little baby.
I was told to withhold feeding.
No? Oh, withhold?
I was told to withhold feeding when she was born, to let her go. Because
before
she was born.
Before she was born, they told you not to feed her.
They had talked to me really quickly about palliative care. Yes.
Okay.
And like what my options are with that.
And so then when we are going to pull this video up, you're going to just see an amazing, you're going to see this little girl, and she's coming on right now.
Hey, babykins. Boop. Boop, 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 boop. Hi, sweetie. Yeah? Hi. Hi. Boop. Boop. Say hi to everybody. Hi, Zoe. Where's my good girl? Yeah. Yeah, you playing with your hands? Huh? Yeah? I got you. Good girl. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, we're back. Did you see that face? I just wanted to, so adorable. And even now, we're going to show a video of her in a little bit of what she's like now. But just what?
I have a page for her. We call it Zoe Defies Her Diagnosis, because that is exactly what she's doing. I mean, the things that she was supposed to be and the things that they scared us with and told us, it was very dire, and this is a different child. And I think a lot of it has to do with a lot of the early intervention that we got that we would not getting in Florida. I had to fight. We did not get any kind of services at all until after she was 6 months old. And that's just not an option. And
well, as a parent, we will do what it takes.
I mean, we went to Colorado. That was also a possibility that we were going to move to Colorado, but because of what she has, it can affect her heart as well. So we didn't want to put the extra stress on it, and we were told, no. And besides, her doctors were in Boston. I mean, all the specialists. We had been here before she was born, and all the specialists are here. I mean, there's literally a team that is studying her.
It's amazing. So basically, you decided to explore other options and explore states that had medical cannabis. You went to Colorado, you checked it out, you came to Massachusetts, and you decided to come to Massachusetts because of the doctors here.
Well, after I saw a child from Maine that had a seizure, and it was stopped with the CBD, and I just was like, oh my goodness, wow, this is amazing. They have it also up there, and I didn't even think it was a possibility to stay on the East Coast, because I didn't want to take my family so far away. And Boston, I mean, I said, why not? And so we got involved, and we moved here. And when I came here looking for apartments, I started using it myself, checking it out. I did some cream because I had cervical fusion, C4 to C6. And it got rid of the scar pretty well.
Nice.
When I was in Colorado, I had done that. And then when I was in Massachusetts looking for an apartment, I was starting to try smoking again because I hadn't done anything like that since back when we lived in Israel. And I found that I was able to lower my pain medications, and finally I'm off everything now.
And there's another story. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And look at you. You're an amazing mom, doing everything you can for your child. You're a patient, parent, advocate. Seriously, this is really hard for parents.
Yeah, you do. I mean, you really feel alone. I mean, I know Jody from the internet. I mean, with these Facebook groups, I mean, that's why we're on Facebook. I mean, it's nice and all to, I mean, it was nice to, find old high school friends and all, but right now, I use it for advocacy and I use it for parent groups, for support. Yeah.
Support.
Because there's just my family, my parent, I mean, my family is fine, but people in the greater family of my family don't always get it, and friends don't always get it. We've lost a lot of friendships. We've lost a lot of people on the way because they just don't understand. They think I'm doing it for attention.
Yeah, and that's...
Why would I want to do that? I mean, I had someone call DCF on me because they thought when I was getting really high into the I was getting really into
advocacy.
Into the advocacy in Florida. There was the whole vote, yes on 2, and so I put a picture of my daughter and I said, this doesn't always, look like, what you think it's going to look like, a patient, and I got in a lot of trouble for that.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. I was accused of having Munchausen by proxy because of postpartum and was trying to get attention until we showed them the doctor's notes that we had on her, and then they realized it was a mistake.
So easy to point the finger, right?
Yeah.
Instead of really looking at what's going on.
Yeah.
And no one knows more about their child than the mom.
No, I mean, we're really lucky that we do have a diagnosis. We do, I mean, as scary as it is, we know what we're dealing with. And I do know that the seizures are going to come, and it's just a matter of when. And so I wanted to make sure that we never had to deal with using Diastat as a first rescue. I wanted to try cannabis instead. I'm now in the process of trying to get a card. And I don't want my daughter to ever have to go through withdrawal of all of those benzos and everything, all the horrible drugs. No. It changes their personalities. My daughter is such a sweetheart, loving, alert. I'd like to stay that way. And the only difference between me and other parents is we didn't have that first seizure at 6 months, 3 months. We were very lucky. But
and you're sitting on a diagnosis, where a seizure could develop at any time.
And so just to be clear, your daughter hasn't had a seizure yet?
Not that we know of.
And what did the doctor say the prognosis is? Will that come soon? Do they have any idea of the time frame?
Zoe will tell us what will be.
She will tell us when she's ready, okay.
It's all wait and see. Nobody knows anything.
And what does that feel like as a parent?
It's so frustrating. I mean, it's the lack of control is just unbelievable, and
especially when there's the thought that you could be taking something prophylactically.
Yes, and I can't make any plans. I don't know what's going to be in 10 years. I don't know what's going to be in 1 year. I don't know what's going to be in 3 years. I can't think, wait until school or wait until camp, or no, that may never happen. And I don't know if we're going to have, if she has seizures, what will that bring? Will she lose a lot of her skills that she's acquired that we worked so hard to get into her? Because it wasn't like a normal kid teaching it, so.
Yeah. So we have let's just pull up another video.
Okay.
Yeah, if we can pull up another video. This is her with the elephant, right? It's an adorable video. You guys are out and she's interacting, and you have worked with her tirelessly to bring her exactly
well, it's
what
a team
needs.
effort. We have a wonderful tribe. We have, I have help, and we have a wonderful team of everybody, of all the different specialists, and without them, she wouldn't be where she is.
Yeah. So we're gonna show a video of Zoe right now, and she's adorable. So we're gonna let that play.
What is that? Dolphin. You found him? Hey, Zoe. What is that animal?
Elephant.
What is it?
Elephant.
Elephant. There it is. And what's that big thing in the middle?
Tree.
It is.
Tree.
It is the same tree as there. You're right.
Spider.
Yeah.
She's your little girl. She's adorable.
She's the cutest. She's the cuterest, as we like to say at home.
The cuterest.
The cuterest.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about getting your medical card.
So what is the process for somebody that, for a
So
child?
you need to have 2 doctors. One of them needs to be a specialist or pediatrician, neurologist, and then you can have a secondary like a cannabis doctor. So that first doctor is really hard to get to because there's only really one in the state that is now taking patients, and it's really hard to get in. And I have a whole long list of things that I need to fill in before I'm able even to make the appointment to see him. And it's scary, and it's a lot of information, and I wonder what it's going to... I have to go to her pediatrician and go ask for all of her records, and
Right. And just
it's
so
really
you know,
scary.
Just so you know we can help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
You're not alone. I got a
There's
nice...
a lot of other parents out there who have gone through this very same thing.
Yep.
And
I'm afraid we're going to get rejected, too, because she hasn't had a recorded seizure. But I want to use it as a neuroprotectant and to stop the seizures from coming. But I don't know
And
if that's
that's-
going to, we'll see.
I know, and that's one of the things too. Let's talk. What does it mean to be a neuroprotectant, Dale?
there's so...
What does it mean to be a neuroprotectant?
Well, we have research. We don't have a lot of we don't have research
We
for
don't,
kids.
yeah.
We just don't have it. It's not there. So when we talk about kids, I can't really
can't
talk about
But
What
I
do
know
say
it does
about-
no harm.
But a
so-
neuroprotectant as far as adults, right? You figure we all have a brain. If it's going to protect our
Yeah.
brain.
And we
It's
want to
tough.
be able to use it as a prophylactic medication. So is she on other medications?
She is not on anything, and I want to do it with a doctor. I mean, I could do the CBD oil by myself, but I'm afraid. I don't, and until now, actually, my family wasn't all behind me, so now they are. So, but I want it to be done with a doctor because I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows
Right,
what's going to
yeah.
happen with her brain, and oh my God, what if she gets a seizure? And I would never forgive myself if I'm dealing with this alone.
Yeah.
Like, I need to have help, and I want to have help, and I want to do it legally. I mean, I
guide you
have
through,
2
yeah.
children. I can't be doing
Exactly.
something that's going to put me in jeopardy.
Have you talked to your doctor, your pediatrician about
I
this?
have, and I was told she's good, she's doing great. Look what she's doing. We never thought she would be this. You should be thrilled, and yes, I am thrilled. But I want to know if maybe she can have more.
There you go. Can she have more?
Yeah.
Can she have a better quality of life? Right? Is there anything that you'd want to share with anyone else?
So what's the biggest fear for a parent?
DCF.
DCF.
Department of Children and Family.
And of course, other parents. I mean, it's crazy. Every time I go to some meetup with parents, and so what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a cannabis activist. I'm an activist. I'm an advocate.
How does that go over in
How
the
do-
mommy play groups?
Surprisingly, you'd be surprised how many are okay with it and are curious and want to know more, and you'd be surprised who's smoking. It's
Yeah.
really crazy.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say I have my hair pinked today because it's going to be PVNH Awareness Day.
Oh, say that word.
PVNH, it's periventricular nodule heterotopia together. I know.
You say it much faster than I do.
So it's PVNH Awareness. It's August 7th. It's because of Elaine Dupont. If we didn't have her, oh my God, we wouldn't even know what this was. Her daughter Ella, that's her birthday. So that is when we have PVNH Awareness Day. And our colors are pink and yellow. So I thought pink and blonde, but then I had blue, so purple.
It looks beautiful. Absolutely looks beautiful. So thank you so much for coming on. Really, really appreciate it. You have a powerful message, and you are an advocate for sure, because you're actually thinking about your child and the future.
I want it to be normal. I want it
You want
to
it
be
to
a
be
normal.
and you want to be able to have a choice
Yes.
as to how you medicate your child.
Yes.
I'm going to help you get your card.
Thank you.
Trust me. This isn't over yet. So we have just a few minutes left. I do want to bring up, I want to talk about Wicked Chronic. They're one of our sponsors, and they do have cannabis yoga every now and then. There should be a photo coming up of us doing yoga. And there's actually kind of a cute little video of Jody and I that we're going to pull up in a second. And we're at Wicked Chronic. They're a store.
I was home studying.
She was home studying. Poor thing. And Jody and I are out, and we're in behind the lot of Wicked Chronic. They're a store. They have their little boutique. They carry cannabis and non-cannabis related
I was in
materials.
there today, actually, or was it today or yesterday? Yesterday, getting some CBD dog treats.
So this quick little video clip is of us doing a little yoga. So this is at Wicked Chronic. Take a peek.
Go ahead, give yourself a big squeeze as you start to lift, as you find stillness first, start to lift all the way up. Kind of like what a little roly poly does, tightens all the way up, even tighten your toes.
So why are we doing this? GreenNurse on the go.
GreenNurse on the go.
We want to reach patients. We want to make this normal. We're trying to bring community to community. The time has come. There needs to be no more stigma. People need to be educated. Ignorance needs to go away. And ignorance, the definition of that, is making an uninformed decision. The time has come for us to bridge the gap from what patients aren't getting from traditional medicine and to bridge the gap from the medical community to the community, the cannabis community, because there is healing that is going to take place. It always does. It's part of my story, and the people that I bring into the medical world need to get out.
And they need to have choices, and those choices should be offered as a first line.
First line, exactly. So next week we're going to have a show for you guys. I don't know if it's going to top this one, because you guys were awesome. Thank you so much.
We really appreciate you sharing your stories.
But we're going to continue on the journey of talking about chronic illness. And it is Lyme season. So we have Lyme disease is prevalent. It's everywhere. And we're going to focus on chronic Lyme disease and how you can manage that using cannabis as a tool, as well as other wellness tools. And we're going to also talk about chronic pain. Pain is the #1 debilitating cause for Social Security disability. And it's the #1 reason why patients go to the doctor. So we're gonna talk about that next week.
Yeah. So we have a lot of good.
But in the meantime, GreenNurse on the go. Come and see me, please, on Friday at Revolutionary Clinics. We'll buzz Dale in. She'll be home studying. But what we'll do if you guys come and see me, we'll FaceTime her. And we'll give her a little break.
Keep me company.
Keep her company. And thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you all next week.
We'll see you next week.
Or actually, we'll see you GreenNurse on the go. Thank you. Signing off. Hi everybody, this is Sherry, and we are here in Boston on top of the roof doing